Hello everyone, this is Khalid from Kuwait. Joining me today, Benny from Canada. We have recently cleared the game. We're gonna be talking about The Last of Us 2 in terms of our favorite moments, the accessibility features, and other stuff. It will be a casual conversation, so no worries there. Please note that this video will contain heavy spoilers, so if you haven't played the game, you have been warned. Let's start. So, my friend, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, this is Benny
So,
from Toronto, Canada. Uh, yeah, recently I've been the been the Last of Us 2 on the PS4, and yeah, I would just like to share some of my favorite moments with Khalid here.
yeah.
So maybe we should give our listeners a background story about the game,
Yes,
right?
sure.
Um,
Yeah,
So this game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where, um, pretty much the majority population of the world has turned into these zombie-like creatures called the infected. They basically they're
yeah,
just going around whenever they basically just attack people. They've lost their minds and they just attack any human beings roaming around.
yeah.
And the main characters are basically just survivors, trying to survive in this world. And also, they want to take revenge on certain people that did them wrong or did their family
Yes.
wrong.
So don't tell me that you actually cleared the game in one day.
Oh no, that would be like a. I don't think that doing so wouldn't do any justice for this game because I think there's so much details in this game. I think it's best enjoyed if you play it slowly.
I cleared it in 2 weeks almost.
Yeah, I beat it.
I didn't feel bored.
Yeah, I beat it in 1 week. I went through every corner of the map to try to find as much items and all the notes and try to collect most of the cards, the superhero cards too.
Mm, mm. So just a side note, guys. He's sighted and I'm blind, so we're gonna be comparing our experiences when it comes to this game. So overall, what did you think of the game?
Well, in terms of accessibility, I think Naughty Dog, the game developer of this game, has done a really good job. Um, So even for me, like as a sighted person, there were some tweakable options that became very helpful. Uh, for example, having the ability to. So normally, when you see an item, you have to
Yeah.
walk to the item, and then you have
Yes.
to press triangle, right, Colin?
Yes.
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 But with this accessibility feature, you could simply walk to an item and pick it up without having to press the triangle item button. So this saves a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree. So basically, when we implement accessibility features in mind when developing a game or a website, that will make it really helpful for everyone in the end. That will be a great product in the end.
Yeah, like I mean, like if you have ever played any kind of video games that requires like finding hidden items or scavenging for tools,
Mm.
etc., you know that you need to search through every cabinet and every rooms and every corner of the map to get everything.
Yes,
So it
yes,
becomes redundant. If you're doing that anyways, it becomes redundant having to
so
to to
redundant.
click the triangle button every single time. Like you're basically sweeping the floor anyways. So just making this
Yeah,
available helps so much. It saves so much time. It saves a lot of frustration and redundancy. So well done, Naughty Dog. Yeah.
yes. In terms of me, actually, I used to play video games when I was younger. I used to play Tekken and GTA. You know, this game is well known. I can't give it credit. You know, it's so popular. But after a while, since there are less games being accessible for me or for the blind in general, I haven't played video games in a while. There are some video games, I mean audio games available, but to me, I didn't feel that interested.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would get really bored after trying it maybe for one, two
Mm-hmm.
times. But with this game, I happened just to know about like recently that it's gonna have accessibility features. So I did my research and I really found out about those features. So I decided, you know what? Since my brother has a PlayStation, what I have to do only is to get the game and play
What
it.
were some of the challenges that you faced in previous video games?
Not being able to read out loud the menus. Like I would just be clicking on menus blindly,
Mm-hmm.
since there is no screen reader reading out loud the menus and whatnot. I would just like memorize the menus.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine that memorizing like maybe 10, 20 options.
Mm-hmm. That sounds tough.
Yeah, it sounds really tough. But with this game, actually, the screen reader or the text to speech is built in, so it reads out loud everything,
Okay, what does that
literally
include? What
everything.
does everything include?
The menus, when you play the game, when you pick an item, like they even have audio cues, especially for fighting.
Oh, how does
Like
that
when you
work?
judge
Fighting
someone,
audio cues for fighting, like
when someone, when you judge someone, when you judge your opponent, you're gonna hear like an audio cue that basically says someone is dodging you. You gotta click L1 to dodge it. Like at first, you will hear the audio cue and the instructions for that, but after a while, when you go so far to the game, it will not tell you these things.
mm-hmm. So let's say if there's an enemy like
Hmm.
kind of in front of you, does it play any sound that does it play any sound or like how do you know if there are enemies
And
around? When they attack you.
when they
When they
attack you,
attack you, it plays a sound.
yeah, and even actually when you actually click on the rock button to defeat this
Mm-hmm.
enemy, you're gonna hear an audio cue that basically means that you're clicking on the wrong button. Basically, you will hear an error sound to make it simple.
I see, I see. And how do you aim? Like not being able to see, how do
Auto,
you aim at the enemy?
they built this feature called auto aim, and I'm sure you have seen it since you enabled that feature, auto pick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It would basically, when you click on L2, then R2, it will automatically aim at the target.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's really easy and really simple in the early stages. But then when you fight these zombies later on, it's gonna be a problem. It means you need to think. You need to run away.
Right. You know, you use what kind of weapons are available in this game? Call it.
And knives,
Mm-hmm,
guns.
mm-hmm,
That reminds me, Benny, since you're talking about the game in terms of fighting, Naughty Dog did a great job when it comes to implementing this feature that makes us navigate freely,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
which is called navigation assistance. Which basically, when you click on L3, it will make you progress normally in the story.
mm-hmm,
It will point your direction at the right direction, basically, and you just have to like use L3 to move around.
mm-hmm,
And this feature is especially helpful for you guys if you're lost, even.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's right. Because sometimes, like the map is pretty big, and there are some puzzles in this game. So sometimes even I get lost, and I don't know where I should go. Like,
Yeah, even me, even if I would lose,
right?
lose
You'd be
my
like, "Oh,
mind
what do I do,
quickly.
man? Like, I open every single door, and I click everything. I still can't find the exit. Like, what's next?" So that having that directional like cue thing is pretty useful. Yeah.
I have to make a confession.
Okay.
I've died countless times in the game.
Really?
Yes, especially to these boulders,
The bloaters.
to these creatures. Yeah,
Yeah, the game is challenging. I have to admit, it's challenging.
especially the ground zero
Hmm.
boss fight.
Right. I mean,
That was so
yeah,
long.
like one of the biggest challenges about this game is that, you know, you're in a post-apocalyptic world, and there are not a lot of resources. So you have to go around the map to scavenge items, to pick up tools in order to craft like weapons, like and upgrades. So you're always kind of exhausted from resources. and that's why. Maybe you can tell us about this like the component of having to sneak around and going stealth. Yeah.
Oh, that one is
How is
really
that? How
interesting.
what is that, and and how does that work with accessibility?
Sure, basically, just like I told you, with enabling navigation assistance on and clicking on the circle button to enable that sneaking mode, you just have to move like upwards.
Mhm.
And when you ever click on L3, it will like guide you
Mhm.
in the correct
Mhm.
path.
I mean, can you just?
But
Why do you have to
basically,
sneak? Can't you just like shoot people like and get through?
uh, I am a peaceful man.
Okay.
And since this game is so hard, if I just like start firing at people, they
Oh,
will die.
really? So,
Yeah, especially in maybe chapter 30 or 31.
uh-huh.
In early chapters,
You
that
could
was
get away
nothing.
with
Like
it.
you could just shoot. Yeah, you could get away with it. And that reminds me actually with the Ground Zero boss fight. I tried so many times to win, but I lost. I ended up giving my brother a chance to win
How
instead of me.
how generous are you? You gave your brother a chance.
Well, of course, we're twins.
I remember that fight.
So, bro, actually, I remember something
Yeah.
when my brother was fighting that creature,
Mhm.
and when we moved to another area to fight someone like that creature, my brother said, "Oh, that's his son now."
Yes, that was his son.
He cracked me out. Yeah,
You could be his clone, I
yes,
guess. Like
precisely.
his son, yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
What was your
I think I
favorite
remember
fight
that was
then?
one of the most difficult fights in the whole game. Um,
Yeah,
because
it felt out of place to me. It was so not so early. It was in the middle, but it felt like a
it felt
final
like a
fight.
final boss. So without
Mm.
giving too much spoiler, it's just you fight this like ancient zombie basically at the bottom of the hospital and the basement of the hospital, and it's like it's so strong, has like super thick armor, and even like I remember before going to fight, I had pretty much full inventory, full ammo, and like all the guns available
Yes,
up to that
precisely.
point. But it was just a strong, you know, boss, and it felt like nothing could stop him. Like I shot everything at him, and he was still charging at me. What the frick?
That's everything
Right?
happened
Like
to
I
me.
threw
Yeah.
Molotovs, I set up like trap mines, I shot him with my shotguns, and it was still just like it was like the Incredible Hulk, He
Standing.
just charged at me like it was
Yeah.
just like 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 it was like invincible. Um, but like I don't know, like what were some challenges you ran into? Like despite that it was like so
That
powerful,
one.
like, despite that
Yeah.
it had like super thick armor and it could pretty much one hit kill you. Like what do you think were some of the challenges? Like for
One of my
for
favorite
the
fights
mhm.
and one of my favorite moments as well from the game was basically when you had to fight Ali
Oh,
in the
spoiler
confrontation
alert.
chapter. Oh, I forgot to put the spoiler alert to you guys, but you can
Yeah, it's
hold
okay.
it.
I guess I suppose
It was an
we did
intense
tell
fight.
the listeners that we cleared the game.
Yeah, we
We
did.
should
Yeah, we did.
just make sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just yeah, you know,
everyone is on the same page. Yeah,
we should have said that in the beginning.
that fight was really maybe emotional. Maybe you could say it was emotional and annoying at the same
Mm-hmm,
time. And when you start that fight, you don't know what you do. You'll be doing exactly.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I've been I've
mm-hmm,
died a lot
mm-hmm,
in that fight, and then like I found a way around it. Basically, you would have to like attack him from
mm-hmm,
behind, and at that time I thought, well, let me try doing this
mm-hmm,
alone. I would not ask my brother
mm-hmm,
no matter what. And the navigation assistant didn't help me to defeat it like 100%, but it helped me
mm-hmm,
90%. Like it wouldn't tell me, oh, you should like attack. Like you should try your luck, and you could like basically think and move carefully and try to
mm-hmm,
attack her. but there will be some audio cues that make basically give you an indication that you're actually near her or even far from her. Yeah, that was my favorite moment basically.
Yeah.
Like we have seen these characters grow.
Yeah, it is an emotional story. Definitely. Like I think part of the challenge of the game is that you have to sometimes you're forced to run away from
Away,
things.
yeah,
From
enemies.
You know, like there are parts where you want to sneak through because it's impossible to fight through. It's almost impossible to fight through all the enemies with the given resources.
Yeah.
So you have to run away a lot, and then you sneak. Like you can kind of switch between the two. Was that a challenge to run around?
To me, that was my favorite
part, like biggest challenge, or the run away?
No, I would always run away. I would save my my weapons for the important moments. Why would I carelessly just use up all my weapons?
Yeah, you're right. Sneaking around can get you through like most of the stages, right?
Yeah, but it will make you feel like it's taking forever for you to move.
Yeah.
So overall, you can always play
Yeah,
the game again.
Definitely. True. And then you can, when you start a new game, you can retain all your weapon upgrades and your weapons as well. So that's a neat thing.
Yeah, and this is the most accessible game ever yet. So hopefully Sony will develop more games or will make developers care more about accessibility, so we can play so many great games like this game.
I agree. I appreciate the accessibility a lot too. For some of the features like how you could adjust the brightness of the screen. Like you have a couple options like the high contrast, or like if you're in, let's say I play in my basement in a dark room, so I prefer like the screen to be a little dimmer than being super bright, because it's gonna kill my eyes if if I had it super bright in a dark environment.
Yes.
So I appreciate these things, and the game is also very detailed. There are lots of small like details that they made, lots of references to pop cultures as well. Like they had some. I remember in the arcades, like there were some stages with like where you play through an arcade, and they had like arcade machines with like some of Naughty Dog's previous titles, like Jak and Daxter, or like a Jak and Daxter arcade machine, and I think they also.
So it was a nod to these.
Yeah, they were paying like they're basically they have some like Easter eggs, Ukami Easter eggs, right? Like little hidden treats. That's catered to longtime PlayStation owners. And they also had something related to Nathan Drake, and it was good to see these little detail and these like tributes. I appreciate that. I like the details. Yeah. They also have a PlayStation. I think they also have a PlayStation 3 in one of the rooms. Like
release?
Yeah, in one of the rooms. That was really cool. I think it was a fat PlayStation, like the earlier models.
They cut you off
guard. Like they didn't put any Xboxes or Nintendos in there. So.
Oh, well, after all, it's an exclusive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like that.
So in the end, do you want to say anything to our listeners?
Yeah, I highly recommend this game. It's got a lot of great features. It's challenging, got a very emotional story as well. I hope, and if I know that the first installment, Last of Us 1, was not accessible, but don't let that stop you from playing the second one. Just go on like YouTube and just listen to a summary. Read the synopsis. Listen to the summary of what happened in the first one, and you will I guarantee that you will come to appreciate the second installment like a lot better after knowing what the characters have gone through, because the story is just phenomenal. I like the story a lot, first one and the second one. I know the second one is controversial, but
Yes.
I think it's well done. Have some sympathy.
Don't let that stop you from
If
getting
you
the
enjoy the
game
game, you
and
play through the
yeah.
game entirely, you'll come to understand why different characters did different things. Yeah. So
Yes, thank you for joining
no
me
problem.
today, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Thank you for
Take
listening.
care, guys.
Bye.